What's going on, everybody? Chase with Daoust Hockey here today with Jason from Daoust Hockey, and we're talking about youth hockey skates and what Daoust is doing to help players have the most fun out there. So let's start just from the top. What was your goal when you designed the youth skate line this year?
Comfort and fun, essentially. So we want that expression, but we want the kids to be comfortable. It can be a battle for some kids to get out on the ice. We want them to enjoy being out on the ice, being comfortable in the skate. When we look at the 301, we wanted comfortability, we wanted performance for the younger players. For the 201, we still want that performance, but we want it to flex a little bit more, so you have that even younger player that can really get into that boot and really flex it. So we're designing the skates not just from a downgrade as we go from a senior to a junior. We're not downgrading anything. We want to actually make sure that it's functional and it's designed for the player that's going to be using it. So looking at, we want that kid to actually learn how to skate properly, where some skates might be a little too stiff for a player. So for the younger player, they really need to develop that ankle flexibility, mobility, but also that strength, and really get that end of the stride toe kick, and that's where we're looking at that even from a youth standpoint. So we're putting design features into this skate that can assist with that.
So let's maybe talk a little bit more about those design features and really how they compare to maybe youth skates that were too stiff for players. You mentioned how they're a little bit softer and you're able to flex it more. How does that compare to too stiff of a skate? What's going to happen there?
When a skate is too stiff, a lot of the times the natural thing, and then this goes for older players as well, if a skate is too stiff, they're going to want to stand up in that skate because they can't really get that flex into the skate, and they can't get that proper knee bend and really that extension, and you want to actually have that toe kick at the end. And if a skate's too stiff, they're going to stand up more. They're not going to be able to get that toe kick. So you see a lot of younger players where it's just a choppy stride. They're almost like they're running on ice. That's because their skate's probably too stiff for them, or it's a proper fit aspect. So that's where putting that design feature in there where they can actually get down into that stride and really push and learn what the stride is at a young age, and then just keep growing through.
It sounds like the too stiff, you just can't maximize the capability of loading the skate or unloading it, and then you start to learn bad mechanics, and it's kind of a snowball effect.
Correct.
And then another common mistake I see parents often executing is thinking that I could buy a skate that's maybe 4 sizes too big for my player, for my kid at home. So for that parent watching, how would you maybe describe the best way to size up for players, if at all?
So, I mean, there is a way to size for growth, but you still want that skate to fit snug. You don't want to get into a skate that's too big. I've fit many skates over the years where, go a size up, go 2 sizes up. You can't do that, because then you're going to create more play in the boot, where you're going to have blisters created. Even when you put the skate on, you actually there's wobble in the ankle, and then again it goes to that comfortability aspect and goes to the player having fun. If a skate's not fit properly, then you're not going to have the fun. What I usually do when I'm fitting a younger player is I take the footbed out first, have them stand on the footbed. So you do want a little bit of overlap on the back of the footbed, and then you want about less than a finger's width from your toe to the end of the footbed. Then you put the player into the skate. So you put the footbed back in, you put the player into the skate, and have them slide their foot up so their toes just barely touching the front. And you want to be able to you got to push really to get that finger behind the heel. You don't want to have it where it's a loose finger or 2 fingers or anything like that, because then it's getting way too big. The other aspect, what we're doing is we're trying to bring the price back down to reality a little bit more as well. So we don't need to have the parents worry as much about the price of skates and say, well, I want my son or daughter to get 3 years out of this skate because it's so expensive. So we're thinking in that realm as well, where you can spend the money and get a proper fit skate, and then the next 6 months, year, whatever their growth pattern is, they can come back in, and you're not breaking the bank to get them into another skate.
And that's what's exciting about Daoust as a whole, because you're more so saying that in terms of the youth skates here, but that holds true for the entire legacy line, right?
Correct. Yep. We're really looking at the value of skate. And when I say value, it's not just a price point aspect. It's the value of the performance of the skate and the price and that expression. So bringing it all together and creating value for the parents, the players, everybody in hockey. We're thinking from that perspective. I have 2 kids playing hockey, and it gets outrageous at times. So that's where we know what's happening, and we're trying to think like that.
So last point here is we talked about oversizing a skate. How about for that parent at home that's maybe trying to extend a skate's life a little bit too long in terms of the size, hoping that they maybe get another season? How would you maybe talk to that parent watching this video?
Well, the thing to be aware of is, I mean, there's definitely some kids, I've had it where they're in 2 sizes too small of skates because they're so comfortable in that skate and they just start curling their toes. But from a performance standpoint, you do want them to excel and grow into the skate properly. And that's where, again, it's a function of, we have the price points that you can step up and you can keep an eye on where the player is at with their fit. And again, it's very simple to pull a footbed and get an update as a parent to see where things are. You don't want the skate to be too small. You don't want the skate to be too big. You want it to be right in that sweet spot so the kid's still comfortable, because it does create issues. You create bunions, you create, where they're curling their toes too much. There's issues either way, so that's where you need to be focused on. As the kid continues to grow, you need to be aware of where they're at in their skates.
It sounds like, just to kind of summarize, the 2 great tips from someone that knows hockey skates better than, I'd say, the vast majority of people out there. Check to see if it's too big. You want 1 finger through the heel if possible, and then check to see if they're too small, just making sure they're not totally over the footbed as well, right?
Yep.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for having us out and really sharing with us your knowledge.
Appreciate it.
And for you at home that want to check out the entire line from Daoust Hockey, make sure you head over to icewarehouse.com.